Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining us for the third session of today on finance. And it is a pleasure to have in our conversation Mr. Atef Marzouk from the African Union Commission. Mr. Marzouk, a very warm welcome to you. How are you?
Thank you. I'm very well, and everything is good in the African Union and also in Egypt.
Good, because normally you are based in Addis Ababa in Ethiopia, but you are now in Cairo.
I'm in Cairo because most of the people at the organization at the African Union, they are working from home, and due to COVID-19, and I am now around more than 2 months in Cairo.
Yes, I think we are all, let's say, under the same extraordinary circumstances that we do a lot of these things virtual, but I am so delighted to have you today in our conversation because I can already see that we have quite some interest in the topic that we're going to discuss, and that is the GRMF, the Geothermal Risk Mitigation Facility. Now, first of all, Mr. Marzouk, can I ask you to shortly introduce yourself and your role at the Commission, and specifically your role as project manager of the GRMF.
Thank you. My name is Atef Marzouk, Head of Energy Division at the African Union Commission, Department for Infrastructure and Energy. I am holder of master degree in new and renewable energy. I am Egyptian, and I'm working at the Africa. I have more than 20 years experience in the electricity energy production from the renewable energy in Egypt, especially from the wind energy and the solar energy, and also working in the energy strategy and the policy and the international cooperation. I joined the African Union from 2007, around now 13 years working at the African Union. I started with a senior policy officer in charge of renewable energy, and after that I moved to African Energy Commission, is named AFRIC. This is African Union office based in Algeria. I moved there as executive director for African Energy Commission, AFRIC, from 2016, July 2016, and returned back to the African Union with a new position as head of energy division at the African Union based in Addis Ababa. And also I am the project manager for geothermal risk mitigation facility. The main mandate for my portfolio as head of energy division, I'm working on harmonization of the energy policy and the strategy in Africa, harnesses in energy resources for increased rate of energy access in the continent, monitoring and the facilitation of implementation of the energy project, mobilize resources for the energy project, and also coordinate a partnership program with our partner like European Commission, with BMZ from Germany, also from China, from different, and from Korea, from Turkey. We have a lot of partnership with the African Union, with different countries and the different organizations. One of these to coordinate this one, and also as a project manager for geothermal risk mitigation facilities. This is a big project. Will inform in details in the upcoming question.
Super, what a great introduction. I think we understand now very well who you are and what it is that you do. I specifically like that harmonization bit because I do think it's important that we set those policies in a harmonized way. Now, representing geothermal, I am obviously interested in geothermal energy and specifically in the region that we're gonna be talking about. The GRMF, could you maybe explain a little bit what it is its mission, and how does it work? How can people apply for it?
Okay, before we go to this point, I would like just to give some briefing about the geothermal risk mitigation facility and how the African Union established this one, because it came from the African Energy Minister of the East African country. They mandated the African Union to exploit the geothermal energy potential. That this geothermal potential in the East African Rift Valley is around 15,000 megawatt of electricity. And this resource is currently only based in the limited extent in the East African East Africa Rift system country. For this reason, we received a mandate from June 2019 to harmonize and coordinate geothermal and the exploration of the development of the East African countries. And this is coming by declaration signed from all the African energy minister and the African Union establishment in 2012 in collaboration with the German Federal Ministry of Economic Cooperation and the BMZ and the European Union Africa Infrastructure Trust Fund. This is and the defeat from 2014. They already collaborate with or enter with the GRMF, bringing total size is around 100 million US dollar for this facility. Yes. Okay, please.
Yes, no, this is very good to give that context. So when we speak about the GRMF, the mission of it, what do you want to achieve with it? What would you like to see implemented on the ground?
The main objective of the facility to encourage public and private sector investors, as well as a public-private partnership to develop geothermal prospects for power generation in East African countries by supporting early stage development by providing grants for two types of activities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were seeing recently also with the interview on Think Geoenergy, and you had a webinar on the 6th of May. This is already the 6th round. Does that mean that it's already been in place for 5 years?
Yes, we already have 5 application round already implemented, and we have around 30 projects already awarded. It is not all of them the grant contract already signed, but some of this grant contract already signed with Ethiopia, Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, and the Comoros. This project, it is some of them regarding those service studies, and the other regarding to the drilling exploration well and the testing of the reservoir by drilling further confirmation.
Right. Okay. So the type of activities that you typically fund are indeed these service studies, but also for the wells to be drilled?
Yes, we are financing both, and also we are financing for infrastructure also. We have 3 issues we are financing to cover. We are covering 20% for the infrastructure, 80% for the service study, and 40% for the drilling. This is the main mandate that we already make it as a 5th application round to provide all these issues.
Right. Okay. So in the past years, you have been approached many times, of course, for applications. Typically, what's the typical budget that you have? What is the fund consisting of, and for how much can people apply? Is there a strict condition for maximum amount of money?
Really, it is not really. I don't remember exactly the amount of money, but at the risk mitigation facility, we have 100 million US dollar coming from BMZ, from Infrastructure Trust Fund, from DFID, from the European Commission, and this is 100. It is managed for the geothermal risk mitigation facility, and the KfW as a bank, they are managing this fund. And we have a unit at the African Union, is named RGCU, Regional Geothermal Coordination Unit. At the Commission, we have, I am the project manager for this one. We have a principal officer, and also we have a procurement officer and the project assistant. And we have a technical consultant. They assist us in this project. This is Rodan partner. This is our technical assistant who also extended the contract of technical consultant for another 6 years, started from last April.
Yes, exactly. Yes. No, we also have very good contacts with Leudo and partner.
Yeah.
And a lot of the questions that I always get, is it only for a specific set of countries? I mean, we hear a lot, of course, about Kenya and Ethiopia, but you mentioned GRMF for East Africa. I also heard you say the Comoros. If I'm not mistaken, that's the group of islands to the east of the coast. But are there many countries that are eligible for funding under the GRMF?
Yeah, initially the GRMF started by 11 countries, and the Geothermal Oversight Committee, this is the management board for the Geothermal Risk Mitigation Facility. It is shared by the Director for Infrastructure and Energy, Mr. Sheikh Bedda, the chair of the Oversight Committee. The Oversight Committee last November agreed to consider Somalia as one of the eligible countries, and now it became 12 countries. The 12 countries, Ethiopia, Kenya, Rwanda, Uganda, Tanzania, Comoros, Djibouti, Somalia. This is all from the East African Rift Valley country. As I mentioned before, that 30 projects awarded, that's 30 project, 14 for service study and 16 for the drilling. It is coming from 6 different countries: Comoros, Djibouti, Ethiopia, Kenya, Rwanda, Uganda, and Tanzania. This is the 6 countries awarded for the 30 project for the 5th application round.
Yeah. Yeah, wow, that's quite a massive spread all around that rift, as you quite rightly so. So from a geology point of view, because we do have a lot of our members coming from that subsurface base and really interesting in geothermal because of the geology. So the potential in the rift is just enormous, isn't it, Mr. Marzouk? It is such a potential that we need to harness.
Yes, this is the potential is too much, as you mentioned. It is around 15,000 megawatt from the electricity in this all the rift, East African rift system countries. But unfortunately, this is only around 1% only. This is already exploited, and this resource is currently used in very limited, and the geothermal energy is clean, renewable, environmental friendly, and indigenous resource that can improve the energy generation mix, because Africa, they have a lot of resources from the renewable energy, from solar, from wind, from hydro from the small and large geothermal energy, and all these resources. And the best issue, you have energy mix. Energy mix is very important for Africa in order to have from solar, from wind, from all this issue. And but the problem for the challenges, we have a lot of challenges in order to exploit all these resources, especially for geothermal energy. Large upfront cost of geothermal resource exploration and development. This is one of the challenges. Second one, regarding inadequate policy and regulatory framework to attract investment. Third, limited capacity in the geothermal energy development value chain.
Right. I think these are the 3 very important barriers indeed that you just mentioned. And just to tap into that regulatory framework, I think that is maybe in Kenya is one of the first countries who have really established that good network of the geothermal infrastructure, and hence, with Aukaria, but with Kenjan and now GDC, of course. But if you take the other countries that you are referring to, the 11 countries in East Africa, setting up such a regulatory framework and policies to, let's say, allow and facilitate geothermal energy, is that it's still in the early stages?
Yes, you are right. As you mentioned, that Kenya is the most developed country in regarding to the geothermal energy, but now Ethiopia already started, and we had a lot of meetings with the Ministry of Electricity to discuss how to develop, because many of these projects already awarded to Ethiopia, and for this reason, the execution rate it is very low from the risk mitigation facility, because Ethiopia did not have the regulation in order to explore this one. But finally, from a few months ago, we received messages, a lot of messages from Ministry of Energy of Ethiopia that the parliament already agreed on the regulation and the feed-in tariff, and also this is will attract and also allows our developer that already awarded to explore this potential to start working. But some other country like Djibouti, like Uganda, Tanzania, they started the service study, not too much for the drilling, because this is still at the early stage. And we need to develop the capacity. We have some program in order to develop the capacity of this country by to give him information like training course we already organized when I am executive director at African Energy Commission, Africa. I already organized training program in Kenyan and GDC for 22 experts, 2 per country from the 11 country, to improve them the capacity of this country by supporting to give course for the drilling and for the service study.
Right, yes, and to build that local capacity, I think, absolutely crucial, isn't it, for a sustainable development within the region. I would agree with that, which is why we are so happy with having both Peter Omenda and Meseret Zemetkoun in our board of the IGA, but also we have that regional branch in East Africa with the Center of Excellence indeed in Nairobi, and I think that all helps to build on building capacity in the region. For those in our live stream and on our webinar, if you have any questions, specific questions that you would really like and eager to fire up to us, please use the chat in the Zoom link. There is a chat availability, so if you want to have a few questions popped at me, please feel free to do so. In the meantime, I have a few other questions for you, Mr. Marzouk, so please stay on. I think a lot of the talks in the region when we talk about geothermal energy is really on power and clean power to the region. Now, with the potential in the rift, it's absolutely clear that that's you know the first step to do. Funding power projects. Now, certain people are also very interested in that direct use of geothermal energy, for instance, greenhouses, horticulture, but also the spas, etc. Is that eligible for funding under your GRMF?
Until now, it is not eligible because this is what I already mentioned before regarding we have 3 issues only for the infrastructure, for the service study and the drilling. But we are planning to consider this issue at the upcoming oversight committee, because direct use of geothermal energy also it is very important, not only for the energy generation, because the energy generation we need the high temperature, and if we have low temperature, we can use it for green houses, and also we are planning for something like that, not yet, because this is also we need internal consultation with our partner, our funder for this issue. We need to discuss with PMZ, with the European Union and the FEED, because this is the main funder of this project.
Sure. No, I understand. And this is a very good answer indeed, that you are, let's say, thinking about it, but not now, but maybe in the future when all the sponsors as well and the country supporters are, the donor country, so to speak, are interested in that, then it could be added to the facility. Yes. Okay. Another question that that just came in is the call still open?
Sorry?
Is the call for round 6, is it still
Yeah,
open?
it's still open until 15 of July.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
And I think you had a kickoff webinar a few weeks ago on the 6th of May.
Yeah.
I heard it was very well attended.
Very well attended, yes.
Yes, very good.
Most of the developer already attended this one because we already announced early and we invited. Yeah. This is because we started early, we find that a lot of people already attended.
Yeah.
And they are interested for this area.
Yes, yeah. I think if you look at from the potential side, it's clear that the potential of the geothermal energy in that rift system, as you quite rightly said, that's there. It is indeed a marvelous piece of the earth that needs to be harnessed, so to speak. But getting it done, that's of course what you're here for. So another question that popped up is how fierce is the competition? Do you get a lot of applications?
I don't remember exactly the number, but we received a lot of application, and also we have evaluation criteria, and we are working in this one in order to award the project. It is very long process in order to award the project.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I bet it's because I mean, $100 million is quite a bit of money. So I can see that there is a lot of interest to go for that. So just to do a recap, the 6th round of GRMF is open. It opened already on the 6th of May when you had your kickoff webinar. It's open until 15th of July. I saw the website. It's called grmf-eastafrica.com. And so people can go there as well for further information. So I think it's great to see that there is so much, let's say, availability of funding opportunities for those 11 countries. Applications are going on. Mr. Marzouk says it's a fierce competition, so you have to be good. You have to come with a good application package. Power for now is the focus area. Direct use maybe later. That's in short what the thing is. Now, I just had a few questions coming in around drilling and about exploration wells that need to be drilled. Is there anything that people can do before they fire up that application in order to test the grounds and to set the parameters such that they have a good overview of what the typical exploration well would need to target?
Yes, if they have the ability to make this one, it will be better also because it will be reduce the time and also to have a chance to be a successful project. This it will be very good. And also the African Union is planning to organize like a round table for resource mobilization because we need to increase the budget or the fund. But unfortunately, due to COVID-19, maybe this issue will be postponed until the last quarter of 2020 or early 2020-21.
Yeah. No, fantastic. So, Mr. Marzouk, I want to thank you for your time. Time flies by, and we are nearing the end of our conversation. Just a word of thank you, of course, but also to stay safe, because under COVID-19, you are restricted as well in your travels and in your meetings. You are in Cairo now, not able to travel as well. The rest of the world is as well. But that doesn't mean that people cannot submit their applications, because as you said, 15th of July, everybody can submit. And in the meantime, you will be looking after, of course, the current projects, because there are, of course, some mobilization going on. You mentioned to me that there is one, it's a bit delayed, but there is mobilization going on pretty soon. I think at the end of the year, you're expecting that to recover?
We hope that, because this is, we cannot yeah, this is not easy.
Yeah.
We hope to have a vaccination, we have medicine for it. It will be very fine.
Yeah, super. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I thank you for giving your time and your energy for this conversation. And I think it has given us a very good overview of what the GRMF is and for whom, and also how to apply. I thank the audience for listening and also for being live with us and your questions. Mr. Marzouk, I wish you a very good afternoon and evening, and I really hope we'll get all these projects on the ground in East Africa in this decade. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much to you also, and I hope we already cover all the answer for the question, and will all the developer and all the interested people, they are benefit from this information. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Okay,
bye,
bye.
everyone. Stay safe and
stay safe and stay home. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.